stress and burnout hits you at different places and you don't even know it. I remember hands all swollen up and everything, and I'm still kind of doing that. Stress shows up in your body, and your body gives you signals. You cannot take your business to the next level if you're not. And my father tried a lot to get me to meditation. I think there was a time when I said to him, Papa, dance is my meditation. It's not a dance class, so there's no perfection in it, or there's no stress of projecting or performance or perfection. It's just getting in touch with your body. Instead of congratulating myself, patting myself on the back of, say, having built a 8-figure business, I had just lost all confidence.
Aditi Kaushiva, a movement and mindfulness expert helping individuals regulate their nervous system,
And welcome to Move to Thrive.
de-stress, and reconnect with their inner child. From banking to entrepreneurship, Burnout led her back to movement. And now she's on a mission to help others heal through it. Introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
So, hi, and thank you so much for welcoming me to the space and to your podcast. Um, and you do such lovely facilitation of conversations. So, it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm Aditi Kaushiva, and I have a program and a movement series called Move to Thrive, which is basically movement to help you thrive in mind, body, and soul. And it's been quite a journey. So I've been from a banker to an entrepreneur to finally then reconnecting to my movement roots, because I've always been dancing as a kid, trained in different dance styles. So the reconnection to movement happened because of entrepreneurial burnout, and then Move to Thrive kind of started with that to kind of heal myself from burnout. And movement is such a powerful tool to kind of just regulate your nervous system. And a lot of us are just so busy in the hustle culture. And especially in entrepreneurs, we don't get time for ourselves. Just it's been a journey. So, what I do now is help individuals de stress and thrive in their body, connect to their mind and body, connect to their inner child, to kind of just have a happy, joyful, playful existence. I think connecting to our inner child is, we somehow lose that in our journey as an adult. And movement, a lot of it through movement and mindfulness, I help individuals come back to those parts of their being.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and I think it's very interesting to combine like dance with other like mindfulness activities to help people to overcome some stress and some burnout. And I think nowadays it's happening a lot in like people who is working 9 to 5 job. They're facing like unexpected like redundancy,
Yeah.
and also like there are so many entrepreneurs right now and a lot of them are like facing a lot of burnouts, like stress, anxiety and stuff. And I enjoy dance myself. And like, can you tell a bit more about like how like from when you started dancing and why you wanted to combine this dance with some mindfulness, like how it happened?
Yeah, I've been dancing pretty much all my life. The earliest memory, I think, when I started professional training, it was at the age of 7, in a dance form that's called Bharatanatyam, which is an Indian classical style. And growing up in India, my father had a transferable job. So every 2 years, we would change cities. So that gave me the pleasure of, learning different dance styles, because India is so diverse and every state almost has their own folk dance and own classical dance. So I've grown up learning dance, but professionally trained in Bharatanatyam, and then regional folk dances. And then as an adult, I trained in jazz, contemporary, and modern dance. Uh, and that gives you, as it is, dance and just going to a professional studio, learning from international and national teachers, that just gives you that discipline in life. I mean, you would agree, like learning any like creative arts just gives you that kind of balance that you can come back to, and that gives you creativity as a tool to kind of just help you in life.
Mm-hmm.
So dance was always a huge part of my life. But also growing up in India, um, in a middle class family where the emphasis was always on education and starting a professional career or having a stable career. So dance was always a hobby. It was
Mm-hmm.
always on the side, and I pursued economics and then MBA, and then went on to work in the banking sector. And every time in banking at 5 p.m., I would just be kind of just packing up my bags to go to my dance class. um, so yeah, so that's been my journey. And my father has been a meditation practitioner for almost 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
So even as a kid, I was very fidgety. I was very anxious. There was something in me was always kind of there was a lot of pent up energy somehow. And my father tried a lot to get me to meditation because he's been practicing it for so long. And I think there was a time when I said to him, Papa, dance is my meditation. The kind of uh, balance, joy, peace, and calmness that I would find in myself when I was dancing, I would not ever find that in meditation. And my mom is a Reiki practitioner. So
Mm-hmm.
she was practicing Reiki. My dad was. And also growing up in India, you have a lot of spirituality and philosophy that you're surrounded with. Both my maternal grandparents kind of instilled that in me. And all of that, I didn't know it, but in hindsight, all of that has prepared me to what I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After banking, since dance was such a big part of my life, uh, I started a dance community called the Dance Bible in India, which started as a dance community, a space for dancers, because again, dance being a hobby and not a professional career. Growing up at that age, 2014, 15, many people, many young dancers wanted to take this up professionally, become choreographers and stuff. So we just wanted to have a safe space for them to ask questions and to help them pursue their dreams. And then what started as a community, we realized the dancers didn't have like attire and professional shoes that blended like functionality and style. So the Dance Bible became an e-commerce brand.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2017, I quit my banking job and kind of never realizing what I'm getting myself into, started this business, fashion e-commerce brand, and then fully went head in, not realizing the demand it takes to become like an entrepreneur and a business owner, because none of my family had that. We were all into academics and corporate jobs. Mm, so I never realized what I'm getting myself into. Also, adding the layer of being a woman entrepreneur in India, I have a male co-founder. So I think I put myself into a lot of stress, thinking that, I have to be a certain type of way, project myself in a certain type of way, the unseen demands of being a leader, setting up your team, all of that. And then 6 7 years counting, I think it just accumulated. And stress and anxiety just builds up, and you never know when it hits you. And also that was a time where, because 24/7 you are pursuing and putting your blood sweat tears into your business, I kind of also lost my connection with movement. I didn't have the time, or that's an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You always have time, but I wasn't doing any of my dance or movement
Mm-hmm.
classes, and that disconnected me from my own body, from my own
Mm-hmm.
emotions. um, so yeah, it was just a bad realization, just burnout, and then having this a lack of confidence in myself, because uh, stress and burnout hits you at different places and you don't even know it. So imagine, instead of congratulating myself, patting myself on the back of, say, having built a 8-figure business, I was just had just lost all confidence. And once I realized that, I had a uh, session with my mentor in 22, is when I was like, okay, I was just putting my cards in place. Early Feb 2022, I was like, yeah, some things are not right. I have to come back to I have to ground myself, connect to my body, and just see where my life is at. And yeah, also take take up space to, because you're always growing, you're always learning as an individual, to allow yourself to kind of grow into something else, because
Mhm.
sometimes your business takes up so much of your time. You connect your identity to your business or to what you're doing. So I think at that time, the only um, version of myself, or the only thing that I could say was, okay, I am the co-founder of the Dance Bible. I just didn't have any other identity, I felt. So yeah, a lot of that, and that everything that led me to what I'm doing now, which is realizing that, movement has such a powerful tool. Body awareness is in different, yeah, I can go on and talk about body awareness, but yeah, just connecting back to that, to
Mhm.
everything, because there's so much wisdom in your body. If you just sit and listen and tune in with yourself, you can find your path forward. So that's what I did. And then last year was amazing. I had the opportunity to take a few workshops, volunteer. Um, so Move to Thrive is fairly new. We are in their second year, and I'm glad that people are finding the joy through movement. And it's not a dance class, so there's no perfection in it, or there's no uh, stress of projecting a performance or perfection. It's just getting in touch with your body, feeling all your feelings, and through movement you can transform them, embrace them, and just it can help you grow and heal.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very interesting concept. And for some people, probably not everyone enjoy dancing or
Mm.
like feel the stress of like being in a dance class and like not being able to dance the way like the instructor was
Yeah.
teaching. But these kind of movements, having that kind of body awareness, it makes much easier and less stressful. And
Mm.
the goal is to reduce stress, not
Yes.
like increasing the
Yeah.
stress. I think that really works. And you mentioned about like burnout. And that's one of the topic that I want to talk about a bit
Mm.
more. um, so because you are a young entrepreneur and you didn't have that kind of experience, probably a lot of people share such
Mm.
experience being a young entrepreneur. Um, but why you think that you um, didn't like you started not enjoying the things that you enjoyed before, like dancing, and what's the reason? Like, is it because you were figuring out like the next steps,
Mm.
or felt lost? And what do you think the reasons might be?
I think there are different reasons for burnout. In my case, it was, um, I think you don't realize the stress you put on yourself. Like I said, I think being any high achiever or an overthinker or like a perfectionist would agree to this, that you want to put out your best, you want to give out your best, and you don't realize what's that doing to you physically, emotionally, and mentally. So I think for me, one was any time, like I had never ever, between 2017 to 22, I had not taken a single like break. There was no holiday. And so, and of course, it wasn't that I didn't have the time to take an holiday. It was um, just that if I'm giving my time to something else, I'm not giving it to my business. I could do that better, or we could strike that deal, have that another vendor, push more products, talk to our customers more, better our customer service. So it was just all of that. And any entrepreneur or business person would agree, your it's your passion project, it's your baby, so you want to put everything in, which I did. So that was one layer, which then led to burnout. The second was, as I I think, just constantly having to prove myself was also a big one.
Mm.
Very early on, someone, a close acquaintance, not a friend, but a close acquaintance, kind of just as we were starting the business and forming our initial founding team, they said to me, that you better not become that bossy bitch. And I was like, what? It's just there's so many tags that kind of that are attached to women leaders or women
Mm.
business
Yeah.
owners, and you don't have like a an example, a good example in front of you oftentimes, which I did not. So yeah, a lot of things that you hear, and then any business decision that was to be taken, there were a lot of questions, and then I had to prove uh, with examples or facts, or uh, any entrepreneur would agree that a lot of decisions are very intuitive,
Yeah.
especially for women. I think we are very intuitive beings, and we know what to do. And I was between me and my co-founder, we have this great yin yang balance, because I think I'm a bit more cautious in terms of handling money,
Mm.
and more in terms of just giving that great experience to our customers. And he is kind of a big thinker, and I had to kind of caution him, and kind of,
Mm.
so we had a great balance. But
Yeah.
yet, in the world of, say, you were going to um, a vendor who would kind of not talk to you, we are equal partners, but he would just look at your male co-founder and talk to them. So constantly kind of just trying to prove yourself as a woman entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that again, I think it kind of just added up. And in that, because you were spending so much time with your business, I didn't make time for my own well-being, which I realize now is just unfair to you. So I think right now my message, or any young entrepreneur that I speak to, or anyone that comes to my sessions or in my corporate workshops, I think this is the biggest message, that you cannot take your business to the next level if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the many reasons and layering. And there are signs, of course, but you kind of put them under the brush. I had huge rashes and flare ups that kind of happened when I was in stress. And those came up, and then I had to deliberately take some time off. Or I remember we were just in initial days when we were figuring out our packaging and everything, or we were just making a handmade uh, extra things that we want to give with our product. I remember hands all swollen up and everything, and I'm still kind of doing that. And then migraines or headaches were a big
Yeah.
one for me. So stress shows up in your body, and your body gives you signals.
Yeah.
It's up to you, like, when you realize it, and make time then to work on your yeah, nervous system regulation and all that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being very vulnerable and share all your experience and why like um it like burnout happen, right? Like people probably don't realize themselves are slowly going into
Mm-hmm.
burnout. But if they know the reason, and then if they know that it might be they might be dealing with such things
Mm.
or feelings,
Mm.
and they might need to stop and do something for themselves.
Yeah.
um, so you had the 9 to 5 job and you had a very good like career,
Mm.
but why you decided to leave from that job and pursue entrepreneurship?
Just, I think it was just my love for dancing.
Okay.
And it was just like, with my banking career, I was just handling a community space. Then it went on to creating a blog, a community. And then it went on to then artist management and event management, because there were a lot of dance events and showcases that we were planning, giving opportunities to choreographers and dancers. So just the thrill of being able to do something for dancers. And also, I wasn't able to pursue my dream of being a dancer, like a
Yeah.
professional dancer. So I think that I'm now able to help dancers. And then from there, it kind of just, people were like, because in India at that time, people learning ballet, they were importing ballet shoes and leotards from outside. So that was becoming expensive for them, and there was
Mm.
delay in import and shipment and everything. So they asked us, could you do something? And then it just happened. So I can't call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I would have been like a community leader, or like, always community first is always my like agenda. But yeah, business part is very accidental. And it was
I've
just,
interviewed some like an entrepreneurs who became entrepreneur accidentally.
yeah,
But yeah, it's all starts with doing something that you love, right?
yeah, yeah.
So when you left your job,
Hmm.
are you making enough money to support yourself, or you just left first and then start making more money?
So the 7 year-ish banking career. So thankfully, I had enough savings, which went all into the business.
Okay.
So yeah, I had that to kind of support me. So I had a lot of emotional support, like from my partner and from my family. They were not able to understand what I was doing, but I still had the emotional support. But thankfully, financially, my banking career supported my new business.
Thank you so much. Because like some people might consider like, do I need to quit my job, or do I start with like side hustle
Yeah,
stuff? So like people probably have different reason
yeah.
why they need to start with side hustle, or they can support themselves by just go fully in, right, to something new.
Yeah, I think now this was back in like 2017, and India was still, that was the time India was booming as like it was the startup hub. Between 2017 to 22, India kind of, there were many startups that emerged from India, homegrown brands. So we kind of went with the wind, so to speak. But I think you always, I think you should have a, again, you should plan, do your product testing, know your target audience, and just analyze your uh, market, and then go full in. So
Yeah.
if you have like a side hustle, or a job that can keep you, because some, it's again, it kind of uh, I think the online world makes entrepreneurship just such a rosy picture. It's not until when you start doing things that you realize it takes everything from you. Like, people think it's kind of fun, and then you're working for yourself, and they always kind of jump into entrepreneurship thinking that, they will have more independence in terms of not just finances but time, that, they don't want to answer to a boss. But actually, when you're doing your own thing, you're answerable to your customers, your stakeholders, your team, your co-founders, so everyone. So I was answerable to, of course, I have a team of I have a team of 8 that I manage. So I'm answerable to them. I'm taking care of them, their growth, their salaries, and everything that comes first. And then I'm taking care of my customers. I'm answerable to them. Up until 2022, if they would call me at any given time, I would take their calls. And then, of course, you're answerable to all your stakeholders. You're making payments on time. So where is the freedom? And where is your? There's no kind of, you're answerable to all of them. But in a corporate job, you're answerable to just one boss, probably.
Yeah.
So I think anyone who wants to kind of go into business needs to kind of weigh the pros and cons. And there's so much of information available now. There's mentorship available in all different industries, which I think any young person should take up. I think having a mentor or a guide
Yeah.
who's gone through that, who they can guide you better, and then you can take that decision whether to quit and go full all in, or kind of just balance both for a bit. And once you start making profit, or that now you need to go all in because you've tested the product and the market, and then you can go all in.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, it's very interesting that every person who I interview, they had mentors. Of
Yeah.
course, they had people who support them, but everyone said like, yeah, I always had a mentor. So, I truly believe in the mentorship. And yeah, like if people struggling with like what to do, and struggling with like early stage entrepreneurship, and I highly recommend to have a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I also wanted to understand like why dance cannot solve that kind of stress, like why dance is not enough, like why you need to combine with some mindfulness, like what's the
I think
what,
dance is perceived more as you said, we're dancing for. Like when I was taking my dance classes, any dance form, it was more on um, perfecting the steps. We always had a mirror in dance studio, so you're looking at yourself. Also, as young dancers, you kind of maybe I dealt with, and I know many dancers deal with body image issues because a specific dance, it's thankfully it's different now. There's much more body positivity in the performing arts industry. But when I was taking up dance, you had to be a certain type of way. Even for Bharatnatyam, the dance style I learned, or even for ballet, there's a specific. We've seen that in like movies, or we've seen that in different performances. So you're concentrating more on performance and perfection. You're also dancing on stage to an audience. So you're not dancing to connect to your mind and body. Uh, from there to kind of what I'm doing now is using blending mindfulness and movement, where it's about body awareness, just body awareness of just your body parts, using that to be more functional. Also, body awareness in the sense of the spatial awareness, because you are uh, constantly, like I am in this space, I'm constantly aware of how my body is moving here. I'm not using too many hands, or some places or some performances might call in for too many hands. So just spatial awareness and body awareness, and then the biggest thing that we work on is internal body awareness. So just like this is my first like podcast, like the professional one that you're doing. So yeah, I was a bit nervous before. So uh, there's a little bit of stress and the back of my shoulders. I know my hands a little clampy, maybe a little bit cold. So that's my body awareness. Like how am I feeling in that? um, Many a times, so when we work in the movement sessions, when we work and people say, okay, I'm feeling my chest is not opened up. So that is something that they share with me. And then we kind of move as to why is that. They've been sitting on their desk for so long. Is it just outside body awareness, or they're feeling that rigidness in their chest because it's something else that's bothering them, whether it's like a coworker kind of made a rude comment, or they kind of just not happy in their kind of life right now. They want to work on something else, say just confidence to take up space, and confidence to kind of be better, do better, and ask for their share in their work. Just like an example. So that kind of internal body awareness. We say very commonly, there are these metaphors, right? Feeling the butterfly in stomach. So
Yeah.
that has come from somewhere. Or we are saying that when we are in a situation of like fear, we say our hair is standing on our backs. So these are all sayings that has come from this internal body awareness. So when we move with that, so in many say someone is just feeling conscious
Yeah.
in their bodies, and that consciousness comes from different factors, the way they've been brought up, or is there any like trauma in their past, or so we work with that, and they're mindful of, we work on that, and we work on mindfulness, and also not judgment. So mindfulness is about, of course, how you're feeling, how your body is reacting to what you're feeling, and then not judging yourself on that, but kind of embracing that, and then moving through that. So someone is just maybe crunched up or feeling some stiffness. So kind of work on like open, and we work on movement, and that kind of helps them understand themselves better.
Thank you so much. It's like when you mention about or explain about what's body awareness. Now I understand a bit more. For me, body awareness probably was like just knowing if we have pain or if we like have some feeling in our some body part, but it's like knowing where they are and like how they are acting, like how whole body awareness. You like I wanted to ask one question about body awareness and body confidence. Like, if you have body awareness, is it helpful to increase body confidence, or it's like totally unrelated?
It is totally related.
Okay.
uh, I think awareness is one. So in anything that you do in life, self awareness is what will help you kind of grow then. So say someone is feeling, like you said, you thought that body awareness is just wherever your aches and pains are. Sometimes, what is causing those aches and pains? So, for example, just this example of, for me also, like confidence is something that I constantly am working on. So, say I am sitting timidly, or I'm sitting in a way that is making me smaller. Now that is physically, if you look at it, uh, it's just maybe you would just pass it on as this is how the person is, this is their body language, right? But when that person is aware of why they are sitting in a closed manner, or why they are sitting in a timid manner, is because of XYZ reasons, because of maybe the space they are in, the people they are surrounded with, is not comfortable for them, just for example, for whatever reason. So if they are aware of that, and then how it is coming up in their body, like if they are just sitting like this, if they become aware of that, and then they can work on different movements to kind of open themselves up, and then we say that, okay, just this feeling of just sitting like this, we don't often sit like just this. How does that make you feel in your body? Are you feeling like awkward?
I feel like I'm yeah, my confidence is like raised up.
it
I
it
feel like when I sit like this, I feel like I'm a bit timid.
Yeah.
But when I sit like this, I'm the boss kind of feeling.
Exactly. So a lot of times people who go on stage, like when I talk to like leaders or business owners, and they're wanting to go on stage, and they're of course nervous, like even I am nervous. So there are just very quick tools that they can just do to release that energy, or release that stressed emotion, and be project themselves as confident. Like when you say, make it till you fake it, it's also kind of be being that. So
Being in the right position.
being in that position, many people before going on stage, they stand in that superman superwoman pose. You can kind of just jiggle it out and just shake it out. That gives you a lot of just it takes away that pent up energy and emotion. Then you can go on stage being a lot more calmer. So there are different like movements that can help you with different things that you're feeling. But the first part is awareness of what you're feeling and where are you feeling that. So even if that's when I said that stress came up in for me in migraines. So now I'm aware that whenever I'm kind of in a heavily like stressed up situation for whatever reason, the first I can feel pain starting up in my neck going upwards. And I can now understand that because I've been working on body awareness for now. So I know, okay, it's time to take a breath, a pause, listen to your body, take a step back, and then come back to your whatever deadline again. Because your body is like, they don't know. We are always in this survival as humans. We are made to kind of survive, and our body reacts that way. So we don't know if it's like a tiger or a or a war that we are kind of our body is reacting to, or it's like a deadline. It reacts the same way. So kind of knowing what your triggers are, and then knowing how your body reacts when those triggers happen, and then kind of taking a step back and then just breathing through it and moving through it is what is mindful movement.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to ask a question. So, for example, we are sitting like this. In
Yeah.
order to project myself as a very confident, like podcast host, how I should sit.
It's not about how you should, it's about
Okay. How I feel.
how you feel. Exactly.
Okay.
So You can try different poses. Again, this
I'm
just
like keep changing my pose.
even just taking up space for even women, like, we are this spreading of our legs or just sitting like this, it's very awkward for us because we've always been taught to kind of be prim and proper and to keep our legs closed,
Yeah.
for different reasons. But I think just feeling what makes you most comfortable and most confident. And many a times we kind of like, if we are sitting in a certain way, and we are very very conscious as well how we look on camera,
Camera.
or even like when we are sitting on within a room full of people, it's about how we are kind of projecting. It's a lot about shoulds. This is, you should be a certain kind of way. So I think away from the shoulds, if you can just take time to listen to your body and to feel what's best and the most comfortable and confident for you. And that is not easy because, again, sitting in a certain manner can feel very awkward. But over time, practicing that can give you more confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is very
So if you,
helpful.
in the
Useful.
morning, just very simple things, and again, it's very dependent on that individual. So say we are in a session together, and I say just to take up more space and be more confident. Just making you do stuff that you don't usually do. Take your hands up and just stand there for a minute and see how you're feeling, or kind of views animalistic movements, or we embody different animals to then realize, okay, how is that making you feel, and are you more comfortable with that? So for many people, they might not be. There are many people who are introverted or who are neurodivergent, or for them it might not always be comfortable or confident to sit in a certain manner. They might be in their shell more like a turtle. And when it's safe, when they know the person, then they can come out of their shell.
Yeah.
So it's different for different people, but it's again, yeah.
Knowing like how you feel first.
If we-
Yeah, I actually during your workshop, I felt like it was just 10 minutes like workshop
Yeah.
like we did. Of course there was a speech at the beginning, but the thing that we did is like probably around 10 minutes. But I felt so relaxed and I was like so happy.
Yeah.
I was like so happy after the session. So what did you do like in the session? Like why you do such things, like how it can help us to improve our mood and feel more relaxed and whatever.
So I think just for your audience and on your listeners, and for any like entrepreneur or business leader or anyone, for example, in knowing that what triggers you or what causes you stress is one, and then of course taking even a 5 to 3 minutes movement break. Now that movement could be anything. It could just be like shaking of your hands, or just watching your hands, because as when we are kids, we are constantly stimulated with toys and activities, and we're constantly discovering how our body is moving as kids. But as an adult, we kind of reach this plateau. We kind of just move in a certain manner. We are walking to our work desk, our office, wherever, and we are, of course, projecting ourselves in a certain way. So we lose that curiosity and that inner child curiosity of how we can move. So I think if I were to give you like 3 movement tips that can be done in like 3 minutes, one is shaking is the best to kind of just release stress.
Like shake everything.
Just shaking everything,
Yeah, I
your
remember
leg
we
and your
did that.
hands,
Yes.
and just letting it be like very floppy and
Yeah.
fluid, just letting everything go. So that's a great like stress reliever. It instantly just shakes up everything in your body. The second is like to feel more grounded. If someone is feeling um, anxiety and they're feeling too much in their head, it's good to kind of just become grounded with something. So it could be just foot tapping that could help you kind of, or it could be just if you're sitting here, and maybe it could just be touching, having that sensation of touch. Again, touch is a great tool. Self touch is also a great tool. So just grounding yourself in terms of just we did this exercise in the workshop. It was just taking a minute to kind of just hold your hand and just putting everything in your fist and holding it, and then just releasing and
Yeah.
imagining the rush of blood going through your hands, breathing with it, and then feeling that rush of blood going through your hands to your back to your head. That instantly kind of grounds you.
Yeah, I can feel
And
that.
then foot tapping, grounding, shaking. And then again, any kind of self touch. So this is again someone is who's feeling a lot of stress. This is called butterfly tapping. So tapping and self touch is again great to kind of just put you, relax you, and center yourself. And the other is in terms of someone who is we also did visualization of
Yes.
your and then moving through it.
Yeah.
So this is something, say someone is feeling like we spoke about, someone is feeling nervous or is conscious, and their body might be in a contracted manner. And they say they want to feel, say after the podcast, we want to feel, oh yeah, we've done it. And so this putting a gesture or a movement to a feeling. So from saying feeling this to feeling yay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So repeated movement patterns can help us get there, because I feel that when we're constantly in our heads and we're constantly thinking, meditation and journaling do help, but I think we can also get in our heads a lot and we can start overthinking. But our body is always, there's already so much wisdom in it, and when we do kind of repeated movements to go from to yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, repeated movement of this yes
Yeah.
feeling, your body embodies that, and
Yeah.
then it tells your brain, okay, now you're feeling much better, you're feeling yes, you're
Yeah.
feeling that sense of achievement already. Instead of working up here, you're working with your body. So yeah, very very simple tools that can be used, and a lot of play. So if you're having like on in my online sessions, it's a lot about stress and burnout, and how we can take just 5 minutes to kind of, because 5 minutes is nothing. You don't need to go in like a gym class. Endorphins are great, and I believe any kind of movement is great. Movement is everywhere in our life, right?
Yeah. You do one-to-one as well, right? So some people, for example, if they struggle with like chronic stress or like maybe trauma from their childhood, with this kind of mindfulness exercise that you are doing, moves, are they able to like release that even from like childhood trauma?
This is not therapy, right? So I am not a therapist, but it does help, and it gives you the tools to kind of know how to self regulate.
Okay.
So when you become self aware and you know that you might go into this cycle of stress, A is knowing how to become aware of that situation, what are your triggers, and then B is when you're getting into that situation, then how movement and mindfulness to kind of can help you get back to your sense of like calm, so that you can take any decision from a sense of calmness rather than a state of stress. So I'll give you an example. I was working one on one with someone, where she was like, she was quite self aware, but she was like, I don't like the feeling. I know who I am, but I don't like who I am. And we were working with something where she was feeling caged and boxed, and she wanted to come out of it. So we did different movements to kind of, and she said, no, this is not working, this is not working. So it's very individual what works for you. So what we then tried to do, I said, okay, let's grab a paper and then just try to tear that paper and then come out like that.
Yeah.
And that worked for her, because we were trying different movement to kind of open up, or kind of, if you're feeling boxed, kind of, do different movements. But that never worked. But something like a prop, like paper or scarf, or we can use different props to see what's then working for you. So somehow then just that feeling of being uncaged came through that tearing that paper and then coming out physically. So it, yeah, different people work differently, but mindfulness and movement can help you just self-regulate.
Thank you so much. It seems like there are so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even better to work with professionals like yourself to understand themselves even better and find the best way to relieve from stress, like burnouts and
Yeah.
anything. So yeah, please reach out to Aditi if you need any help with body moves and wanted to like reduce your stress, or if you're feeling like you are burning out. And yeah, just don't wait and just reach out to Aditi. And yeah, it will be a great help. And I totally believe in that, because after that session we did,
Yeah.
and I felt like we visualized our mood in a shape, and
Yeah.
then we took it out,
Yeah.
and then we were shaking. I was like so happy.
Yeah.
And then actually I manifested this podcast.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I really liked you during that workshop. And
Thank
then
you.
of course I've been traveling a lot, but yeah, this is the time that I always wanted to have it with you. So thank you so much. And you
Thank you.
brought so much value to my podcast, to my audience. And
Yeah.
I hope they found this podcast helpful. And if you need any help with this body moves, reach out to Aditi. And thank you so much for being here and listening to our podcast. And see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.